going on, everyone? The Golden State Warriors are absolutely cruising right now. They have won 9 out of the last 11, coming off of a win against my Los Angeles Lakers. And as unfortunate as it is to have the Warriors beat the Lakers, the Warriors are they're in a zone right now. They have a very big uphill battle to climb, don't get me wrong. They are still the 10th seed. They are now half a game behind the Lakers for 9th. They are 3.5 games back of the Kings for 8th, 4 games back of the 6th place Dallas Mavericks, and 5 games back of the New Orleans Pelicans. So they still have a lot of work to do, a lot of uphill battles to climb. They do have like the 3rd easiest schedule or something like that on the way to the postseason, so that bodes well for them. They're also going to be getting some guys back, which we'll touch on here as the video progresses. But man, the Warriors, look, they're one of those teams nobody wants to see the Warriors, right? The Warriors have clearly had their struggles this season, but Steph Curry is still Steph Curry. He's a guy that can completely control and take over a game and just dominate like very few people we have ever seen. Right? Like, if you're a Warrior fan, you love the guy. If you're playing against the Warriors, you hate the guy. He is absolutely incredible. And I mean, just take the game against the Lakers yesterday, right? The Golden State Warriors started off a little flat, right? They struggled a little bit on the offensive side. The Lakers, they had their struggles, but the game was kind of there. It was in reach. Steph was carrying the load early on. That especially that first quarter, he was the reason that the game didn't get out of hand for the Warriors, as everyone else just is coming off of this break. 8 days off for most of these guys, 7 minimum, and so you got to go through that, and then now you got to jump into a game. You got to kind of find your rhythm again. And Steph, luckily for him, he was a guy that all he did during this off break was practice his 3-point shooting, work on his game as he prepared to take on Sabrina and just do the All-Star game and stuff. So you saw him, he was a guy that was in rhythm, that had the ability to just kind of carry the offense to start the game, and it really kind of just set the Warriors in line, and then everyone else started to kind of follow suit, started hitting shots. You saw Pod and what he was able to do, hit a couple threes back, and then all of a sudden, boom, they go up double digits, and they just never really looked back. And this team as a whole, Andrew Wiggins is really starting to look like the Andrew Wiggins that helped the Warriors get and win an NBA Finals. I mean, he was their second best player during that run and was spectacular, and he's really getting back to that. On both sides of the basketball, he's really impacting not only the defensive side, but also the offensive side. Jonathan Kuminga continues to be very good and impressive. And these two guys just give the Warriors so much just athleticism and point of attack out on the perimeter. Both guys are able to switch on pretty much anybody, or at least be a help defender and just be disruptive. Both guys can get to the rim, get to the basket, finish around the rim. Both guys can hit the outside shot. These two are very huge and impactful for this Warriors team, and just gives them what not all teams have, right? Not all teams have the two versatile, athletic, defensive 3-and-D style perimeter guys. Right? Most teams, they have that one kind of twitchy Andrew Wiggins type, but then they kind of have more of like a burly type of power forward, or one that maybe be a little more stocky, but they're not as like athletic as like a Jonathan Kuminga is. And so those two guys kind of being at the 3 and the 4 just gives them a lot of ability. I mean, I still think the Warriors could use a real center at some point. But as far as this season goes, these two guys are going to be very impactful for them going forward. Now, will they be able to keep it up? And once we get to the postseason, what does Jonathan Kuminga look like? Is he a guy that's going to be able to live up to the production that is going to be needed for the Warriors for them to be successful? Because they're going to need him heavily, right? And more so than just the offense, right? Like, yeah, the guy could get hot. The guy could go give you 30 on any given night, but can he night in and night out stay locked in, stay engaged, and just play both sides of the basketball and not get kind of carried away or fade a little bit, right? You see him do that at times. Even in the regular season, he'll kind of fade to the background a bit, and they're going to need him kind of more front and center, ready to go. I mean, the Warriors, period, they just have so many of these just young, athletic, versatile guys, and they've drafted very well, and they've done themselves a real service by just getting these young guys to kind of blend in with the Steph Currys, the Klay Thompsons, the Draymond Greens of the world. Personally, and this is just me personally, I'm not sold on them winning a championship. I'm not even completely sold that they get to the playoffs, right? Like, do I think that they fall out of the play-in or anything like that? No. But could they finish as like the 9th or 10th seed? Absolutely. Like, that wouldn't surprise me. And then that's just such an uphill battle climb. Could the Warriors win 2 straight games and get into the postseason? Sure. But, it's still not guaranteed. And they would have, like, if the playoffs ended today, right? Can the Warriors beat a healthy Laker team if, both sides are healthy come the play-in tournament? Yes, of course. It's a 1-game sample size. Like, anybody can win. That's the thing. The Warriors can get hot enough. But the Warriors have struggled mightily against the Lakers when they're healthy and they have all their size and they have everything, because they just don't have the size to match up. So let's say the Warriors do beat the Lakers. Well, then you get the luxury of playing either the Phoenix Suns or the Sacramento Kings, 2 teams that are more than capable of beating you. I mean, if you're the Warriors, you'd probably rather play the Kings, just because, the Kings have kind of seemed like little brother to the Warriors, and the Warriors just kind of seem to be in their mental at times. So that could be something that's beneficial, but it's still not a easy task. And then now you get into the postseason. Now you get to play, a Minnesota or a Thunder or maybe even like a Clipper or Nuggets team. Like, that's not what you want to do. I mean, again, if the postseason ended today, say you finish as the 8th, you got the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, I think the Warriors can actually beat the Timberwolves or the Thunder, but it's not gonna be easy. Timberwolves have a lot of size. It's gonna be tough. But so I don't think the Warriors realistically will win the championship. But at the same time, I don't think anyone would be surprised, right? Like, you always have Klay Thompson, who at any moment could just be Klay Thompson. On top of that, you got guys like Chris Paul, who has experience, kind of been there, done that, has been in an NBA Finals, who now coming off the bench, which Chris Paul is set to return. He's supposed to return on their little road trip coming up. That's going to be huge. With Gary Payton, the second, he's supposed to be coming back soon. They're going to start getting their pieces back. And as they start getting their guys back, it's going to be even better for them for this push to get into the postseason and potentially disrupt somebody. Now, again, I do think that they could beat a Timberwolves. I do think they could beat a Thunder team, just simply on the fact that, like, the lack of experience from the Wolves and the Thunder do concern me, right? When push comes, you saw it with the Sacramento, right? You saw it with Sacramento last year. It was one of those things where push came to shove. Guess what? The Warriors ended up out and ahead because Sacramento, they just didn't have the experience. They hadn't been there and done that. Where the Warriors, they just kind of know, like, hey, like, we just play our way. We wait for you to mess up, and boom, we pounce. And that's kind of how I feel they would do against a team like the Thunder or the Timberwolves. So matchups are everything. But can they beat the Clippers? I don't know. It depends on what James Harden and Paul George show up. The Nuggets, I don't think that they beat the Nuggets. Although Draymond has had some of the better success against Jokic as anybody, but I just think Nuggets size and just versatility. I just think it's tough. Phoenix, they got the firepower. I mean, that would just be a shootout. But would Steph be able to outscore those guys? Because it's like, what kind of Clay are you going to get? I mean, the good thing about Clay is you never know. Like, any game, he can just absolutely go off and drop 35 off the bench. But he's just not the consistent Clay that he once was anymore. So how many of those are you going to get in the postseason? It's a real question. But nobody would want to play the Warriors. No one wants to have a matchup where you got to beat them 4 times. And even if you do, like, you're not sweeping the Warriors. You're just not. Like, Steph by himself will go win you a game. So how many games does it take you to get there? Which now, like, you're tired because you've been chasing around Steph and Clay and everybody all game long for 6 games, let's say, and now you got to go into another matchup and you just tested your cardio and everything. It's just, it's a tall task, right? Tall task for anybody. But the Warriors are peaking at the right time. I will say that. They have looked very good, playing some excellent basketball lately, and they just keep winning. And I don't think anyone would be surprised if they looked up and it's like, oh wow, the Warriors are now the 6th seed. Like, you look at their schedule coming up. They got the Hornets. They should beat the Hornets. Then they got the Nuggets. That's going to be a tough game. But they are at home. And then you got the Wizards. That should be a win. And then the Knicks, the Raptors, and the Celtics. Right? And then you follow that up with the Bucks. So, but outside of, like, the Nuggets, the Celtics, and the Bucks are the only teams that are going to be, like, super tough. That, like, no one would be surprised if the Warriors end up losing those games. But the Hornets, the Wizards should be winnable games. I think the Raptors are a very winnable game. The Knicks, the way that all the injuries and stuff like that with them, how does that look? But they could be right there. Right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised just the way that they're playing right now compared to a team like the Lakers, as much as it pains me to say. Lakers can be very inconsistent. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Warriors passed the Lakers. They still have 2 more matchups with them. I think both of those matchups are going to be very important, very key. I think, it's very possible that whoever wins the next 2 matchups against the Lakers and the Warriors are the ones that could end up in that, like, bare minimum 7th, 8th spot. But the Lakers, the Kings, and the Suns, they just haven't been great or super consistent. So the Warriors could absolutely get there. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel about the Warriors? Do you think that, no, they're a real contender? Do you think no, but nobody wants to play them? I have a feel what your thoughts are. Love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me to enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Now subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.